Hi, I'm Dan and welcome to Polar Currency and video number 10. This is the second video of the sub-series World Banknotes, and we're touring the Caribbean Sea from the Bermuda Triangle to just off the northern coast of South America. I've collected international banknotes that represent the equivalent to basically the exchange rate to the US dollar or the lowest paper currency denomination that each country issues. I have to admit that foreign currency isn't my specialty, and neither is my Spanish. Well, this time I've got help. I've recruited Joe from the YouTube channel The Coin Box to do a quasi-collaboration video. But that still leaves me on the hook for French and French Creole and Dutch.
Joe does a fantastic job of presentation combined with knowledge. Only one word for his videos: professional, because wow. That includes content, presentation, sound, lighting, and editing. All are top-notch. Joe also has an excellent collection of both Mexican and U.S. coins, particularly coin sets.
Joe, welcome to Polar Currency. It is my privilege to have you here today.
Hey, well, thanks for having me on, Dan. It's an honor for me to be here. I've enjoyed your channel for a while now, so it's sort of surreal for me to be in one of your videos, so thanks for the opportunity to be here. And I hope my Spanish is useful to you and your viewers today, and I'm not just a complete nuisance to everyone.
Well, normally I'm the nuisance, but after watching the Coin Box, you know what, and my last World Banknotes video, I don't think that's going to be a problem, Joe. I just found it unbelievably interesting, though, that when I found out that you had 2 YouTube channels.
Yes.
Why is that?
Yeah, so sometimes I ask myself the same question. Why do I have 2 YouTube channels? No, it's more work and takes more time. But when I started out, I decided to do both English and Spanish. So I post to both the Coin Box in English and La Caja de Moneda in Spanish. It's the same content, just 2 different languages. And the reason being, I wanted the content to be available to as broad an audience as possible. You know, if anyone looking for the information out there on the specific coins or sets or whatever it be that I'm covering, I want them to be able to watch it and enjoy it, at least in those 2 languages. So I do it in both languages. Also, a lot of the coins I cover a few world coins, I cover some US coins, and then I try to focus more on Mexican coinage. So there's an interest in both the US and Mexico in Mexican coinage. I feel like that interest is growing as well. So I just do it in both languages, make it available for as many interested people in that content as possible.
Well, that makes sense, and I really appreciate it because I can barely speak English myself. And I'll never going to complain about doing one video after seeing you put together 2. So, Joe, how did you get into coins?
Well, you know, interestingly enough, I think my interest started through my interest in metal detecting. So I never did much metal detecting. I do have a metal detector, and I think it's kind of fun, and I'd like to do it more when, you know, if the opportunity arises. But I got into watching YouTube videos on metal detecting, and then of course that leads into, well, you know, when you find stuff, when you find treasure, you have to place it. You have to figure out what it is, where it's from, you know, who made it. So that kind of got me interested in coins. And then my grandfather passed on quite a large collection of Mexican coins that he had. So that just piqued my interest for Mexican coinage, and then that kind of has developed into where I'm at now. So that's kind of where it all came from.
Wow. Well, I mean, a typical family tradition, right. And I totally get you got to find out where it came from. I mean, that's half of my game also.
Yes.
All right, Joe, we got to get busy and get back to work,
right.
Or actually do some work and get this video started. So for those of you, stay tuned for Joe. He's coming back, and here we go. So I reached out to Joe and asked for pronunciation help for my Spanish so I wouldn't verbally abuse everyone's ears. Think of this as closed captioning for my pronunciation impairment.
Every time a Spanish word is said, Joe will appear in a closed caption box saying the word so you'll actually understand it. I know, pretty weird. Joe has also agreed to present one of the country segments. Of course, I've chosen the one heaviest in Spanish. All right, down to business. I'll present each country's banknote and provide as much information as to what is depicted on the front and back. Keep in mind, some countries provide a lot of information and some, well, don't. I'll go over what the currency is made of and any security features. We'll work north to south and east to west on the globe. Quick side note on banknotes made with polymer. I cover what polymer is in the first World Banknotes video, and check out the link in the video description below. Alright, let's get going. Bermuda isn't actually located in the Caribbean Sea, but is part of North America. The archipelago nation is made up of 7 made islands located 600 miles east of North Carolina in the Atlantic Ocean. Bermuda is a British overseas territory, though it is an independent nation, but the British monarch is the sovereign. The $2 note is Bermuda's smallest denomination. Bermuda's banknotes are made from cotton plastic substrate and are vertically designed. At the top front of the 2018 $2 note is the watermark of a hibiscus flower, and to the right is a butterfly. 3 sailboats align with the $2 denomination with a security window above the center image of a bluebird, native to Bermuda, sitting amongst hibiscus flowers. In the lower left is a small profile of the 1966 portrait of Queen Elizabeth II of England. The reverse depicts the Royal Naval Dockyard, which was the principal base of the British Royal Navy between mid-1700s and the Cold War. Pictured is one of the 2 twin clock towers located at the dockyard in Somerset. In the lower right corner is a depiction of King Neptune, a 3-meter-tall statue at the Bermuda Maritime Museum. Under UV light, a compass emerges along with 2 patterns. 2 security threads appear with the repeating letters BMA, the acronym for Bermuda Monetary Authority, established in 1969. The Commonwealth of Bahamas is an archipelago chain of over 700 islands that's roughly 150 miles east of Florida and north of Cuba. Gaining independence in 1973, Bahamas is a member of the United Kingdom Commonwealth. The 2017 $1 front has a sand dollar in the lower left corner, the map of Bahamas, the center flower of the Lignum vitae, the Bahamian national tree, a flying owl in green iridescent ink, and Sir Lyndon O. Pindling, considered the father of the nation, who served as the first prime minister until 1992. The vertically oriented reverse features the same sand dollar in the upper right this time, with the main vignette showing a standing drum major holding a staff and leading the Royal Bahamas Police Band, with the Bahamian coat of arms in the lower left corner. The note's security features have a watermark of Pindling and a green to gold windowed security thread with a demetallized 1 and dollar sign. There are UV security threads embedded in the paper, and the security thread turns black. In the upper right front is a raised tactile feature for the visually impaired. The banknote material is cotton fiber core paper coated with protective ultra-thin polyester foil. Alright, next up is Cuba, and our special guest, Joe, from the YouTube channel The Coin Box. It's all yours, Joe.
Cuba, the largest island in the Caribbean Sea, is located less than 100 miles from Key West, Florida. Over the past 30 years, Cuba has had a varied and confusing currency story. Cuba established a dual currency system after the collapse of the Soviet Union, which caused major economic problems. The Cuban peso, or CUP, which was used internally, converts to about 4 US cents per peso. The Cuban convertible peso, or CUC, is pegged to the US dollar and was used strictly for external monetary exchanges and limited tourist industry-related purchases. Exporting or importing either currency was prohibited. The CUC was discontinued at the end of 2020 and replaced with a new digital currency. The Moneda Libremente Convertible, or MLC, was introduced and only works using a bank card. At the time of this video, the MLC is pegged to the US dollar value. The 2007 1 peso CUP has the portrait of José Martí, a Cuban poet, philosopher, essayist, journalist, professor, and publisher. I'm not sure that list could get much longer, but he's considered a Cuban national hero. Martí was killed in battle against Spanish troops at the Battle of Dos Rios in Cuba's War of Independence in 1895. The reverse engraving has Fidel Castro leading a victory parade of rebel soldiers entering Havana on January 8, 1959. The note has a watermark of Celia Sanchez Manduley, who was a revolutionary, politician, researcher, and close associate of Fidel Castro. A security strip reads Patria o Muerte, which translates to country or death. The front of this 2011 1 convertible peso, or CUC, portrays the José Martí Memorial located at the Plaza de la Revolución in Havana. The 358-foot star-shaped tower surrounds a statue of Martí with 6 columns and gardens. It is the largest monument to a writer in the world. The reverse depicts the death of José Martí in Cuba's battle for independence against Spain in 1895. The engraving is based on the 1917 painting by Cuban artist Esteban Valderrama. On the right is a watermark of a portrait of Martí, and the security strip, like the one CUP, reads Patria o Muerte, but adds the word venceremos, which means we will overcome or prevail. Both currencies are issued by the Banco Central de Cuba, and the notes are made from 100% cotton and have UV security threads embedded in the paper. All right, well, thanks for bearing with me, and it's back to you, Dan.
The Cayman Islands is a British overseas territory located about 150 miles west of southern Cuba. The Cayman Islands are famously known as a major world offshore financial center for international businesses and wealthy individuals hiding money. Well, at least that's the rumor. The front of the 2018 Cayman $1 note has the 1999 portrait of Queen Elizabeth II with the coat of arms to her right. A small map of the islands overlays an assortment of angelfish with an open watermark field featuring a sea turtle and CIMA, which stands for Cayman Islands Monetary Authority. And just off right center is an iridescent band with the denomination. The reverse displays a nautilus shell in the upper left corner and the bluff on the Cayman island of Brac. To the far left is an angelfish. The note has an interwoven security thread with CIMA being repeated, which also shows blue with UV light, along with the nautilus shell that appears yellow and blue. The island of Jamaica is located 100 miles south of Cuba and has been an independent nation since 1962, but is a member of the United Kingdom's Commonwealth of Nations. The front left of the 2018 $100 Jamaican banknote features Sir Donald Sangster, the second Prime Minister who died from a brain hemorrhage after only being in office for 48 days. The interwoven security thread with the text BOJ, Bank of Jamaica, 100 that turns blue with UV light. The center has the outline of Jamaica with the coat of arms below it. Left is the watermark field that features Sangster, a jacaranda flower, and the denomination. The right border displays the jacaranda flower and the ackee, the national fruit of Jamaica. On the far right border are 2 large bars that represent 100 for the visually impaired. The reverse depicts Dunn's River Falls that is located on the north coast of Jamaica and is about 200 feet high and 800 feet wide, and is believed to be the only waterfall in the world that forms the mouth of a river. Jamaican money is printed on cotton substrate, a combination of protected polyester film layered on a cotton fiber core. The nation of Haiti is located on the western half of the island of Hispaniola that's located less than 100 miles east of Cuba. The official language is Haitian Creole, so I can't use Joe here, so you're going to have to bear with me. The Haitian currency is called the Gourde, which is a French term meaning clumsy, but has some Spanish crossover of guerdo meaning fat. Hey, I didn't name it, just reporting the facts here. The front of the 2010 100 note depicts Henri Christophe, a leader in the War of Haitian Independence. He later served as president from 1807 to 1811. He was the self-proclaimed King Henri I from 1811 to 1820 of northern Haiti. In the upper left corner is the coat of arms. Center left is King Henri with a ship over his left shoulder. Next to the ship is an iridescent gold band with 1804 to 2004 marking Haiti's bicentennial, and then a depiction of the 1779 Battle of Savannah, Georgia, as in the American colony Georgia. Quick American Revolution with Haitian help sidebar. The island of Hispaniola was a colony of France who were allies of the United States against Great Britain during the American Revolution. About 800 free men of color from Hispaniola voluntarily fought with the French and highly distinguished themselves in the Battle of Georgia. That's really cool. End of sidebar. Back to the front. There is a second silver holographic security band with the denomination and various symbols. At the bottom of the band is a tactile feature for the visually impaired. To the far right is the watermark window displaying the coat of arms and a small Haitian flag. The reverse features the Citadel La Ferrière, a large early 19th century fortress. The note is made of cotton fiber with embedded UV security threads and has an interwoven security thread reading HRB for Haitian Republic Bank, and a second printed security band that also is seen under UV light from the front and back of the note. The Republic of Dominica is located on the eastern half of the island of Hispaniola. The 2019 50 peso is the smallest paper currency denomination issued by the Dominican Republic. The 50 peso front depicts the
Catedral de América, Santa María la Menor.
in the colonial city of Santo Domingo. The cathedral was first completed in 1541 and is considered the first in the Americas. To the left are the blossoms of the mahogany tree called
La Caoba.
and the Haitian coat of arms. The reverse has the engraving of the
Basílica Nuestra Señora de la Altagracia.
translated Basilica of Our Lady of
Altagracia.
In
Higüey.
the church ranks amongst the most important religious sites in the Dominican Republic. Dominican currency is printed on cotton fiber paper with embedded UV security threads and a security strip with 20 BRCD for the
Banco Central de la República Dominicana.
The Eastern Caribbean dollar is the currency for 8 independent countries and 2 territories of the United Kingdom, all bordering the Eastern Caribbean Sea. The organization is made up of the islands of the British Commonwealth nations of Anguilla, Antigua and Barbuda, St. Kitts and Nevis, Montserrat, Dominica, St. Lucia, and St. Vincent and the Grenadines, which are all British overseas territories. The front upper right corner of the vertically designed 2021 $5 note has a tactile feature for the visually impaired, overlaying the denomination and a coral reef fish. The note features the 1977 portrait of Queen Elizabeth II of England, a hibiscus flower to her left, a sea turtle in the lower clear security window. Eastern Caribbean Central Bank building, located in Bastir, St. Christopher and Nevis, is depicted at the bottom. On the reverse is the map of the organization of the Eastern Caribbean states, the Trafalgar Falls in Dominica, and the Admiral's House in Antigua and Barbuda. The note is made of polymer and has a UV yellow symbol in the lower left corner, along with a security thread along the bottom reading Eastern Caribbean Central Bank that has issued currency since 1965. Barbados is a British Commonwealth nation located 300 miles off the northern coast of Venezuela. The Central Bank of Barbados has issued currency since 1935. The vertical-oriented 2022 $2 note has the Barbadian trident, the nation's national symbol. In the top left corner is a raised tactile feature for the visually impaired. The note features John Redmond Bovell, a scientist and agronomist. Bovell is recognized for his research and development saving the sugarcane industry, a large portion of the Barbadian economy, in the late 1800s. To the left is the coat of arms, and the bottom depicts a windmill overlaying the clear security window. A security thread is at the very bottom that simply reads, "To." The reverse depicts the Morgan Lewis windmill in St. Andrew. Built in 1727, it was the last sugar mill to operate in Barbados that stopped production in 1947 and is now a museum. Along the top is a line taken from the national anthem of Barbados. These fields and hills beyond recall are now our very own. This happens to be one of my favorite banknotes, and in 2022, Barbados just launched this currency going from horizontally aligned paper notes to vertical polymer notes. It's interesting to see the two notes side by side and how Barbados skillfully kept the same design and color scheme, without really a dramatic change in appearance. Aruba is a small island nation located less than 20 miles from the north coast of Venezuela and was a colony of the Netherlands gaining independence in 1986. The cotton paper vertically designed 10 florin is the lowest denomination issued by Aruba. Starting from the top of the 2019 10 florin, it has a spotted trunkfish above the watermark area which displays a shoku, a burrowing owl only found in Aruba, followed by a hologram of the Prickachee parakeet. The central figure is the sea green turtle that is right above the most unique security thread I've ever seen. The thread has similar properties to the US $100 bill. It is a translucent 3D image with pulsing sun rays and three-dimensional droplets that magnify the stars beneath it. Seriously, that is really cool. At the bottom is a purple sea fan, an octoral fan-shaped coral. The reverse features the green sea turtle with the center vignette of the Barishibana gold mine ruins built in the 1820s. The tiny island of Aruba produced more than 3 million pounds of gold. That's just short of 1 trillion in US dollars today. Across the vignette is an iridescent stripe displaying the denomination and a flower motif. The note also has UV security threads embedded in the paper. Curacao is a neighboring island of Aruba and is a constituent country of the Kingdom of the Netherlands, with the kingdom retaining responsibility for defense, foreign policy, and finance, which is why Curacao uses the Netherlands Antillean guilder as currency. The front displays the Kolibrie, which is French for hummingbird. The note has a gold embossing over the hummingbird and borders of the 2016 10 gulden. There is a gold horn-shaped hologram as a security device, along with UV security threads embedded in the paper, and to the far right is a watermark window depicting the logo of the bank. The reverse has the logo of the Central Bank of the Netherlands overlaying an intricate design, and to the far right is basically the legal disclaimer, in Dutch, in very, very tiny text. The reverse also has miniature holographic dots spread throughout the note. Over 20 islands make up the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago, which is the southernmost point in the Caribbean Sea and is located less than 10 miles off the coast of Venezuela. The Central Bank of Trinidad and Tobago has been issuing the dollar since 1964. The 2020 $10 polymer note features a clear security window in the upper left and the engraving of the scarlet ibis, a 2-foot-long bird native to the Caribbean and South America. In the center is the coat of arms, and to the left is the Republic's flag, and the lower left has a raised tactile feature for the visually impaired. The reverse depicts the Eric Williams Finance Building, where the Central Bank of Trinidad and Tobago is located in the capital city of Port of Spain. Also displayed is Point Lisa's Industrial Estate, a major industrial center. On the far left is a purple and gold pattern UV security feature only seen from the reverse.
That's it for the second World Banknotes video, the Caribbean. Joe, anything else?
Well, I will say that your channel, you've turned me on to paper currency more than ever. I think I really enjoy the way you not only treat these different banknotes as works of art, because they are, they're beautiful. They're so intricate, so detailed. They cover so many stories. They have so many different details and features, and so they're really pretty. But you don't only talk about the paper itself. You talk about the story, the history, the people behind it. And so I've really enjoyed not only learning about any particular banknote, but just, there's been so many tidbits you throw out as you go through these videos that, I really, really appreciate what you're doing with all this. And I do have a question, I've got to ask, having done, these, the sub-series of World Banknotes, what are your thoughts on these notes in comparison now, or what's your thought on the state of U.S. currency as compared to world currency?
Well, thank you for the kind words, Joe. I equally return those. But, comparing the color, artwork, engraving skill, visual impairment features, security features that, in my opinion, greatly exceed today's U.S. currency. I mean, just look at the bills in Mexico. In 2020, Mexico began converting their currency to polymer, converting to a vertical design, adding additional security features. Not to mention they're just so beautiful when you put them side by side, American currency, and that goes for almost every place in the world that makes a banknote.
Right.
And I get why the U.S., I get it. Part of the U.S.'s deal is that familiarity of feel and touch is an anti-counterfeit deterrent. But I just look at that there's so much that can be done towards anti-counterfeiting, and I don't understand why we're not going to be doing anything until literally 2030 is when you'll probably see a change in currency.
Really? That's
in
the
the
next.
US, at least.
Is that because of legislation? Like that's the next opportunity to do something, or why is that?
Remember, no legislation needed. They just That's only coins get to do
That's
that,
true.
right?
Okay. So why 2030?
That's just the timeline that they've given on their last press release, which was about 6 months ago.
Yeah, well, I remembered you featured the 20 peso banknote, the Mexican 20 peso bill, in your previous World Banknote video. And, you know, I'm partial to Mexican currency, paper currency as well. But the 50, I believe the 50 peso and the 100 peso banknotes both won Banknote of the Year in both 2020 and 2021, respectively, I think. So, you know, that's pretty cool.
I seriously didn't know that, but I can tell you this, the U.S. is not going to win any currency design awards anytime soon. I mean, seriously. There's just no creativity anymore. But that's what we're stuck with, and, you know, we'll work for that, and that's why I like to make these videos. So,
Yeah,
all right.
sure.
We got to wrap things up, Joe, because we both, again, have to go back to our own channels. And I believe you promised that you would help me with South America, which is even more Spanish-laden.
Yes. Yeah, that'll be fun. And, you know, it's been fun doing this video. And, hey, at least I get to keep these 2 notes, right? No, you know, joking aside, it's been really fun. It's been a privilege to be able to come on here and you know, try to do what you do, which, you know, I can't do it, but it's been fun to participate in your video. And to all your viewers, to everyone who watched this video, you know, please be sure and subscribe. And after you've subscribed, go ahead and give it a like, comment below, share it with a friend. They'll thank you later, I promise. And Dan will be back here in 2 weeks with his next video, so stay tuned for that. Thanks for watching, and we'll see Dan in a couple weeks.